the stream. Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing good today. We're back for our evening sesh here, and I figured what we'll do is a tutorial on the, I guess it'll be this one right here, Ethereal Spirit. I like that one. Maybe a couple. I'll do one on Ethereal Spirit and then one on maybe Crystal Air. All right, so let's open up an Ethereal Spirit. I hope you're doing wonderful today. Shout out to Seer RL for following, and shout out to Billy Boy who just followed 20 minutes ago. Thank you. Right before the stream started, shout out to Michelle Wentling for liking the stream on Facebook. I appreciate it vastly. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's tutorial. This is going to be a tutorial over my newest song, Ethereal Spirit, and we're going to go about how I made this. I'm going to break it down for you and try to give you a little bit of in-depth insight into how I made this track here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the piano. All right. So we're going to start here with this little piano, and this is basically what started the whole concept off for me, was designing this little piece on right here. And as you can see, here's the bass line. That's the bass line right there. So it's in the key of G. I would say G minor, but I'm not really good on keys and scales. I just know the important part is it starts with a G, and that's kind of how it goes. So, once I have this little concept figured out, then I'm going to go ahead and go to, then I go ahead and start the arrangement. So we can go to the, one of the meat of the project here, maybe like right here. Hey, what's up, Tarcisio? How you doing, man? All right, so at this little part here, there's like a little flute part that goes off, but what we're really concerned about is how we did our chords and bass line, since that's really the biggest part of your project here, is kind of having that figured out. And then obviously you're going to want your kicks and stuff too. So you see the chords aren't really doing the bass as much as the bass line is doing it itself. I know it's kind of like, what? But some people think that you might have to do it all on the chords. And as you can see, the chords don't really have to follow as such strict rules when the bass note isn't involved. I don't know if that's like in the books anywhere, but is this the A sharp key? No, this is G minor. So the whole point is you want to make sure that you have a solid bass line and that it's a good repeat for you, I guess, like 8 bars. And how I done that was by doing my concept over here. So once I made the concept, then it was time to basically start in with, the this was like the chords, basically, the chordal section of it. And then now I have a melody, which the melody here is going to be explained by the flute. So this was a rather interesting turnabout because, I just found this little flute VST basically through arcade, and just found it and started playing around with it. And then we started to work it into the track. So you can see here that even though I have all these the melody of the flute here, I take it into pieces. I take the melody into pieces here. So like the full entirety of the melody is probably here. Where is the play? So, that's just the melodic, like, top portion to go on top of it. But, you could really put anything you want. I just chose that flute, picked those little samples, and then we went from there. So the whole thing was sort of kind of drawn out with the piano, sketched out with the piano, and then we had the flute come in and become the melody. So then I started designing around it. So you already seen the chords, and then we can go to the ARP here. And basically the way I did that was, well, first I designed it. Just did a little random sound design with it, but it really isn't anything too complicated with the sound design. Only notable thing, I guess, is that I have a little bit of cutoff applied to it, and it's 4 voices and 3 voices here. It's a sine and a saw, and basically, yeah, these parameters are just randomly set by my ear based upon what I was trying to do. Then we have a little bit of phaser and delay going on here. And I'm a big fan of both of those, but really a big fan of delay in general for ARPs. This is a great way to add a little bit of space to the track, space with the ARPs. So don't neglect the delay portion too much. Just don't overpower it. That's kind of my suggestion. And then once we did, you notice we linked it to the mixer track here, and we started EQing out, cutting out some of the low bass, sub, low, mid information that we don't want in it. We also did this for our piano and our flute. You can see the EQ curves here, and this is all just based upon what I was hearing and based upon when the mix was playing. So that's just the way you got to remember when you're mixing, when you're looking at these tracks and you're listening to other people or watching other people produce or anything like that. Just know that the mixing is based entirely upon their perspective and what they hear. So you should hear this and think you'd mix it differently, basically, eventually. I know at first you don't know what's going on, but when you sit down here and when you're going to be in the driver's seat, so to speak, it'll be your decisions that matter the most. So just keep that in mind. It's not really up to anybody else's discretion but your own. But you do have to keep a little bit of balance there as well. So yeah, there's the flute EQ, and then we have a little bit of stereo to it, and then this send right here is just simply a volume automation. And what that does is just makes it so that I can control the volume going up and down, and I don't have to link an automation to this mixer fader right here because I don't like doing that too often. We can move to the pads here. So a lot of like mixing work went into it, but basically the whole idea was to make it sound very bright and ethereal and floaty. And so it's routed to my verb here a lot, and then we got bunch of EQ and filtering going on here with some sidechain. Of course, everything really here is sidechain. Um, uh, at this point, it's pretty much I don't even really have to mention it because it's pretty much standard. I actually will say if I don't have it more than if I do. But yeah, that the pad goes in here like that, and basically the way I have it following is it's still following the bass notes, just a higher register, so it's in the C5 to C7 octave range. And I have like a couple of extra notes on top here, basically like the fifths of it or the sevenths of it, just chilling on top. This is just an octave, but it is a fifth right here. So you can see that it's not really like a whole bunch of chordal information inside of the pad. I'm simply highlighting the notes that I want to be accentuated by the pad. So that's kind of a way you can look at it as well, is using your pad to accentuate your chords and your bass and your melodies rather than just it being a representation of the chords themselves. Hope that makes sense. Here's some melody bits here. So you can see here the sidechain is turned off for this. And that's because I didn't want it to be cut or pumped so hard by the sidechain whenever it does come into the mix. So that's also, a creative decision I made there as well, where, typically you would sidechain these things, but I decided not to because I felt like it should be heard more clearly. So there are certain elements in your mix you could decide not to sidechain rather than having everything sidechained to the kick. So the melodies typically can have a little bit of they'll be lacking some of the sidechain because I do that. I want them not to be pumping with the mix so hard, so to speak. It's like a push and pull. Just kind of consider it that way. So that's just what the sound was. This is just Spire, and I picked up Crystal. This is from like the factory set, and usually from there I do little edits and stuff here. And although the knobs are great to work with, this is a pretty cool little plugin as well. Very fun. I do mean to do more work with this and do get to learn this more in depth. But in any way, we use Spire to make the melody, and we use it to make the like the second half of the melody basically. And with that, just keep it in mind. You see that these two melody lines, they're kind of made to, like complement each other in a way. Like they're not meant to like stack so hard. One's kind of have a different kind of a character to it that lets you know that it's a little bit different. And this is more realized in the mix than soloed out. But you get the idea nonetheless that when you do add, adding little bits of things to embellish your melody, you don't want to add almost the same kind of timbre of sound. Find maybe uh, different, maybe a little bit lower or a little bit, different kind of timbres that you could work with. We'll go to the bass line here. So, I mean, there's nothing too complicated about the bass line other than that. I do like to mess around with it in Harmless. I find Harmless one of my favorite places to make basses. So the parameters I use are sort of uh, unique to Harmless, which is really like messing with these subharmonic 1, 3, and 4. Very interesting character results if you start playing with that. And I also do like to throw a little bit of pan, pitch, and phase in unison, even though it's a bass line. I still like the way they sound. It almost makes them all Reese, like plucky and Reese at the same time, but It's just a personal preference. I like the more bowed kind of sound it makes, and that's just my stylistic choice. But you have it linked over to your EQ. It has some side chain. We got an EQ. We're dipping a little bit in the mids. We're running it a couple of compression stages, basically. Then we have some more EQ here, and all right, and then basically the compression is just to keep things in line a little bit more simpler. So it's sort of hard to explain, but you can see how the tops and the bottoms here a little bit. There's a lot of space, and I do a little compression here, and you can look over here, and you can almost see that these are a little bit more smoother in the way they're coming out, and they're also a little bit more closer in distance and volume. So basically it's just compression, and I'm compressing the upper end of it, like the higher portions of it, to make it all a little bit more even and smooth. People could do this extremely, people do this lightly. So these settings are based completely upon my ear and what it was sounding like in the mix when I was creating it at the time. So they could be wrong, right, great, wrong, but basically you can look and you can see the information, see what is being compressed right here, and this can kind of help you show your final result. The second bass line here, this one is just basically a copy of the first bass line, but I make a more sustained version. Oh, sorry. But basically, this bass, this bass is just basically just a real simple little. It's a duplicate of the one above it, and I like using a duplicate because it just gives me more finer control over the things like the automating it, bringing it in. You can do kind of like stylistic things where you could fade it out as it comes into the mix and or leaves the mix, or as it changes from one section to the next. So I really like to have its own copy, just because I like to have a little bit more finite control, just by habit. And then we can come down here to the drums. And so you see, like, there's a loop involved, and then there's something without it here. So the loop kind of thickens up the drum beat a little bit, drum loop. I do little things to the loops. I'll change the pitch to them. I'll stretch them a little differently. I'll even chop things, like I'll chop like a little snare out of them. Sometimes I'll run them into Slice X. So there's a lot of ways you can approach using loops, but I do think loops are worth using, worth chopping up, worth restructuring, however you want, creative you want to approach them. I'm pretty much, I don't really mind, I guess, the drums. Like, as long as they're good and they ride, then I can create the tune. Then I can get a little bit more in depth. So, the whole process of these, it's just basically what I feel. The kick here, I use just one with some EQ. I boosted up the sub bass frequency area, And then this right here is just a low pass filter, I guess. And it just kind of fades it in and high passes it down. And this is the EQ. I actually probably could use a little bit more. I have a volume send. And I have, looks like some compression here. Okay, there we go. I have a little bit of compression going on. And then, of course, it's just mixed to my taste. Same thing with the snare. I drew it in there. I pitched it down just a little bit here, so that way it was a little bit more thicker in the mix. It's just like things like this are personal, but messing with your pitch knob, messing with your in and out fader, checking out these pre-computed effects over here, and try playing around with these. This is a little bit recent, so if you're using a newer version of FL, you might not have noticed, but this exists in the sampler. And this is a great way for you to edit your drum samples or any kind of sample that you're messing with. I would highly suggest you kind of look into working around with these. You might be able to make some creative effects happen from just using the sampler by itself without any external processing. That makes sense. But yeah, this is this little clap I use. And then we have a little like other stereo snare. A little stereo snare to kind of end it all off, you know. And I see I have it going every 4 bars, the stereo snare, so it's not repeating. And then we have it dropping at the section. So if you kind of look at the arrangement between 2 and 3, which is a 16 bar phrase here, you can see how the drums stop at the end of these like 8 bars, or they have some kind of variation that happens. It doesn't have to be the same variation, but you should do something. Or decide yourself to keep it going. Even that is good than that, if that makes sense. So at the end of your 8s, especially when it comes to your drums, try to make sure you're adding some kind of, suggestive end or change, or maybe like a flourish. I would suggest definitely add like little flourishes at the end of your 16s, at the 8 little mini flourishes. But don't just beat it all the way through, if that makes sense. Even these little spaces, they just make a world of difference. Trust me. Okay, now we have the hats. So this is lightly EQ'd, but really it's just like panning, putting them in volume control. So I do a lot of volume editing here on drum. So you hit this little graph editor. And you can look and you can see each of these has individual kind of volumes going on here. So they're not just all the same static volume going across. Rather, what you're doing is you're adding a little bit of like humanization variation to the drum elements. And this makes the instrument sound, the drum beat, the drum loop itself sound much, much more interesting. The little bit of drops in volume in between them can mean the world for making that drum loop sound so much better. We got little rides here to complement the end of the track, end of the 8. So, or end of the 4s actually. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Little rides complement each of the 4s here. So you see, like, my reasoning is still the same. At the end of my little phrases, I have little like flourishes or uh uh like little tiny breaks. I hope that makes sense. Have little breaks in between, and I even like cut the loops at little spots too. This is all intended. This isn't just for no reason, but like if you cut them early and you know you're gonna cut your loop pretty much every time, do it beforehand, copy it across, and it makes it easier to deal with. But however you decide to go at it, just make sure you're trying to add a little bit of flavor. It doesn't have to be complicated because I'm not like a complicated person. But add a little bit of flavor. distinction, a little bit of signature, whatever you like to hear in the track to it, And then we'll go to the effects here. So your standard kind of white noise slash crash effects. Biggest deal here is just make sure you EQ them in, control the volume best you can. I even like to automate the volume externally, within the project itself. That way you can kind of coast them down when the bridge hits. And basically that's really it for the whole like layout of the song. I actually didn't do any mastering on this one, I don't think. Not on this project. I think I did another project, and I don't think I have it. I'm not sure. But regardless, the mastering stage, it's all kind of irrelevant because, the mixing is the most important part. So you want to make sure that you um, work on your mixing if you want it to be like spectacular sounding. But if you want it to be a good song, it needs to be arranged properly. Okay. And so it's more important that you kind of focus on a good arrangement, I believe, than, like the best mix. Because mixing is something that's it's pretty static, I guess. Like it's a little bit more black or white when it comes to mixing. Like either it's too muddy, to this, to that. Other people can give you good input to. There's people that are very good at, what they do, and they've been mixing music for a while. But the thing that they can't tell you is they can't tell you how to make your song. Nobody can. So that's why it's a big deal that you learn and you figure out how to arrange your song. And once you know how to arrange it, mixing it, and all that extra glamour and gliss, it's going to come with time. These aren't, like these decisions and these motions I made, they weren't made just me learning them on the spot. A lot of these were made from me doing these over time and then applying them to practice when I produce. So that's sort of the way I would like you to look at when you produce it. Don't put so much weight against how it is released or it getting a lot, but simply work on the fundamentals of things that you can improve. Work on really refining things like your melodic interpretations of tracks. Like I said, you can keep it simple. The whole project started from this. So you can see that it wasn't like I did a whole bunch of complicated things. I took one element and started to build more and more upon it. And when I did that allowed me to create the arrangement. So just because, like these chords or like standard chords or anything, the chords you'd hear anywhere, the way that they're arranged in this track is what makes them unique for this track, or makes them unique, period. Because, the way that I arranged them, but, the chordal selection and the things that you decide to use, that's not really, that's not going to change really as much from track to track. You really don't have a choice but to use a C major or a A minor or whatever. It's the way you decide to apply it into your track, and into your arrangement is what makes it more stylistically definitive of what you're trying to do or what you're showing. So I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. And if you have any questions, just let me know, guys. Shout out to Alex Stokes for liking the stream. I appreciate it on Facebook. I hope you're doing great there, man. If you have any questions or any kind of comments or anything about this track at all, or about this arrangement, or you want me to tell you anything else about it, just drop me a comment below. Let me know what is on your mind. Timestamp a part in this video that was maybe confusing to you or didn't make much sense, or you need more detail on, so that way I can go ahead and explain this more in depth further. Okay. Much love, everybody. I really appreciate you tuning in to this video, and I will catch you all on the next one. Bye, everybody. Okay, I'm not really gone, but uh, I just had to. I recorded the video for the breakdown video for YouTube. Um, but I could talk about this track a little bit more if you want. If not, I'm going to open up my other track and we'll talk about that one next. And let's see. Ronnie Ochoa, can I hear a snip of the track? Yeah, man, of course. In fact, I'm gonna take a quick like 1 30-second, 1 minute stretch here. I'll let you listen to it while I do that, and then we'll be back and we can talk about either this one or we can go ahead and hop into my other track in which I'll talk about a little bit of my how I made the one we just kind of finished on stream a couple of days ago, or actually yesterday, called Crystal Air. We're gonna talk about that one next. I really like that one as well. So let me stand up, get a drink, and yeah. And you arrived late. Hey, no problem, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out, man, to you on YouTube watching. Thank you guys who are tuned in and hanging out. Massive love. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, Zafer, you know, the musician on a mission to bring peace and happiness to the melodic progressive house world, or to the world with melodic progressive house. Whatever. Both of those are great. Will work. Anyways, yeah. Give me just a few seconds, guys. I'll be right back. I'm gonna run an ad on Twitch. So if you're watching me on Twitch, it really helps support the stream. And if you want to be a part, by the way, hang on, before I go AFK. This I'm going to give this project file right here for this EP, the entire EP. It's gonna be for my subscribers on Twitch. And okay, if you support me anywhere, basically, if you subscribe to me anywhere, I've just decided this is just how it's gonna be from now until eternity, so I don't have to even think about it anymore. Okay, I just don't. It's so hard. But anyways, anybody who subscribes to me, so if you subscribe to me on Twitch, Patreon, my website, just donate me money for whatever reason. I'm going to give you these project files, have them available for you on my website. Okay. If you're not subscribed or you're not really that interested, but you still want this one in particular, I will have it on my website for $10. The entire project. It will be on my website for $10, and you can buy the project file, and you can break it apart at your own leisure. But subscribing to me is only $5 a month on Twitch, so it's probably cheaper just to subscribe to me on Twitch, and always have access to my project files and everything. And that goes for everybody that subscribed to me, even previously on Patreon as well. You'll receive these project files, have these project files available um, for basically ever. And I'll basically, what I'll do is I'll let my Twitch subscribers and my people, I'll let you guys tell me which one I give to the community for free. Okay, so I'll be right back, guys. Let me play this out. Be about 5 minutes, and we'll jump into my next track. Okay. Hey bro, can you explain how the sidechain effects in each channel and your templates work? Can't route the ghost sound to the sidechain channel. Sorry, that made no sense. How do you trigger the sidechain using limiters? Yes, got you, brother. Got you right now. All right. So basically, this is how my sidechain is laid out, man. So this is how my sidechain is laid out. I have a stock kick in here, and you can't hear it. We can see it's routed to channel 1. And basically, the reason why it's ghosted is that's not channel 1. Is because it isn't routed to anything at all. There's no sound being routed outwards. Instead, this input is being routed, as you can see, the number 1, it's being routed to all of these as a sidechain only. So say we want to route the synth sidechain to the base. We right click, sidechain to this track only. I messed up, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to write that only, but you get the idea. Let's just go. I'm just going to open a new one because that was a big whoops. Oh, Ronnie Ochoa, $10. Truly amazing track, bro. Thank you so much for the dono, man. That is awesome. Wow, appreciate that, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's out on Bandcamp now, man. And in fact, that track is free to download. You can download that track for free from my Bandcamp. I didn't know you haven't heard it yet, but yeah, man. Thank you so much. In fact, when I get done, I'll have to reach out to you after the stream and make sure you get a copy of my EP, okay? For sure. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. All right. So, what we're looking at here is my side chain is routed. You see that it's, if you right click, side chain to this track. Don't hit this one. This is a bad one. Side chain to this track. It adds this little side chain information, right? So now say we want to go ahead and start working with the piano. Well, first it needs to be on. So sometimes this isn't on. So make sure the mute solo is not on because on some of these I have them off. See, like the melody bus, I have the sidechain off, but basically you could turn it on and you can disable it on these and you can have it just this being sidechain and these elements not. So that's why I have this option there. Anyways, say you wanted to route this and it wasn't working. So if it wasn't working, it'll be because of two things. First of all, the sidechain's only going to work at these little black boxes up here. These black patterns, they have to be playing. This is what triggers the sidechain for me. So if that's not being playing in the playlist, the sidechain, these are the ghost kicks being activated. It won't play itself. So once that's going, it needs to be in song mode for 2. And if it's in pattern, it won't play because it only plays based upon the kick. And the ghost kick is only a pattern, so it has to play in a song. So it has to be in song mode for it to work. And then there's a little sidechain button. So let's say we wanted to just write a new sidechain to it because we have a new mixer track or something, right? Well, we already have our synth ghost sidechain. It's routed to this. We right click and we routed it over. And then what we do is open up a limiter. And it's going to give you this at first here. And this is the wrong window, the limiter window. We want the compressor window. Once it's on compressor window, you got to make sure the sidechain input number matches the mixer number. And if you right click it, it's only going to let you select what you have sidechain to it, the mixer. So it's only going to let me route mixer 1 because this one is sidechain to that one. And that will enable the sidechain to, it'll start receiving the input. Now we have to actually do a little bit more work here to make sure the kick is being registered by just turning down everything. And if you don't have this on, if you don't have those going, it won't work. It won't work at all. So just keep that in mind, that these have to be going where you want it to be at. And listen, you can get even a little bit more creative with this if you wanted to, okay? Not only can you do, you can do what you want here with putting in, you can replace these, okay? So see these right here? These are just what I picked. But you could find your own kicks, all right, that you might think would be better and put them in. But the coolest part about this is only sending the information. So it's almost like it's just sending the shape of the wave, not really the sound. And the reason why that's informative for you as a producer is because that's what you're looking at. This is what you're looking at. You're looking at the input reducing the volume. So it's pretty cool because just the input itself is going to reduce the volume. So you see, and then you could turn it on, like you could turn it off like this as well. So it's like if you don't want an individual track not to be sidechain, even though you want the rest of the elements to be sidechain, simply turn off your limiter, or you can just disable the sidechain input here. So if your sidechain isn't working, make sure that, first of all, the sidechain pattern is going in your playlist. Make sure it's on song. Make sure that you have it off of mute. I know it's like, well, yeah, but trust me when I tell you that this little button right here has been the bane of my existence many times. So make sure that's not muted. And then make sure that your sidechain input number matches the your mixer sidechain. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. And if you have any more questions, you feel free to let me know. Yep. And thank you so much for asking. I appreciate it. I'm happy to explain any part of this template or any part of my production process to anybody out there that is interested. Much love, everybody. Okay. Yeah. Another big shout out to Ronnie Ochoa, man. Thank you again for the $10 dono. That is just awesome, man. Okay, let me open up this next one. This next one is called Crystal Air, and it was named by Latino Johnson, so shout out to him for the name. And yep, Marboy, thank you for that. It's helped me and may have solved the issue. Your templates are great, by the way. Oh, thank you. And I'm sorry if you had any issues, for sure. But I do hope they help you out. So thank you so much for coming and asking. That's what I'm here for, man. And if you have any more questions, just come holler at me in my Discord, okay? Zafer.com/Discord. Um, Come on and hang out in there, and you can ask me any questions in the lounge. I'm very friendly and chatty with everybody who wants to chat with me. If you don't want to chat me, it's okay. I won't force you. But yeah, and also I'll be doing things that is pretty exclusive to my Discord server, like giveaways, giving away harmless preset packs, silence preset packs, giving away anything that I can do to help you as a producer or whatever musician along your path in life. I would be happy to do so. So yeah, these project files are going to be coming soon for my Twitch subscribers. This one I just went over, and this one as well. We'll be making these available for you, my Twitch subs, or my supporters, basically. By the end of the day, before I go to sleep, I should have these onto the website. And we'll have the MIDI files available independently. And what we'll do is we'll have the MIDI files and the project file available. And I will stem it out on a later date. But if you want the stems, you just let me know, and I will get the stems to you as well. Otherwise, yeah. I'm going to do another video here. We're going to do a video tutorial of this song. Alrighty. We ready? I'm ready. All right. What's up, everybody? It's me, Zafer. I'm coming at you with another tutorial on how I made this track right here. It's called Crystal Air. We made this live on stream on my Twitch. So come hang out with me at twitch.tv/Zafer and be a part of the community. If you want this project file, it will be available for my subscribers and supporters on my website. So be sure you check the description for your link to that, or check me out in Discord, as I'll let you know in the subscribers lounge. Okay, so we'll let this track play for just a second, and then I'll go over how I created it and my thought process behind it. All right. Might as well just let it go for a little bit longer. enough. That's enough showcasing. Well, anyways, this is Crystal Air, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we created this. Let me find the original concept here. All right, this is the original. This is how the concept was. Reason why I kind of do want to go over this track is because of how simple it started and to what it became. Where you may think is a couple of things I did a little differently for one. But let's just start with how I did the concept, because the concept here helped me pave the way for basically the entirety of the tune. So we can go ahead and give the concept itself a play, which the concept is, part of the melody. So you can see, like, a lot of times the concepts will make its way into the melody, but other times they won't. It goes both ways. So don't ever think that that concept has to be what it means. It's just whatever to get your feet off the ground and start getting your hands dirty into the song. Okay, so to think of it like that. Whatever you can start blueprinting and highlighting it out, then you can start putting your then you can start putting all the shininess on top of it. Okay, so let's play this out here. I just wanted to play it out because you can see, like, this is what I kind of like freestyled on the piano when I started. I actually went back in and added those little doo 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 only because I heard that, like, in my head or something. Like, like, I kind of heard that, but I just went and manually put that in. Anyways, so you can see, though, the track by itself, just this concept, there's there's still a lot of space to it. And what I mean by space is, like, you can go anywhere with this. Like, I could have decided to go this way with it, but I could have decided to go a completely other way, and it probably still would have turned out fine, maybe even better. Like, that's kind of how it works. But what I'm trying to say is, just because it's a concept, it doesn't define or cement the way your track has to go. Rather, it should give you a bunch of ideas and opportunities for you to explore in. So this gave me a bunch of those, and we started working on that. It's like, basically, it's like I could cut it there and say that's it, song's done, because all the rest of this is all because of that. But I'm not. I'm just kidding. So what I did here, though, was, well, I liked it so much. The little I like that sound so much that I decided to go ahead and lead the track with it. So we led the track with it, and basically, yeah, you can see they're just little pieces and bits of it that basically define that this is what I love the most about the track. This is a personal expression here. This is not because I knew X fan was gonna like this. You know what I mean? It's because I liked it and I wanted it to come in this way, and I focused on that part of it because I liked it. So this is what makes my songs, like, well, interesting, is because while you focus on the things that you like about your music and you work on embellishing those, and you learn how to design yourself around that way, and you create really interesting melodic interpretations of everything. Anything. You could be given any kind of melody, and you'll create something interesting out of it, because you're not, you just need a little bit. You don't need a lot, and that's why I always stress and fuss to people to be simple. Be simple, because you're going to get super complicated as soon as you begin. So be really simple with your approach, and then you'll notice that it gets a lot more complicated as you keep doing this. So that's how it begins. The arps, which is like another key element here. And so we really kind of led the track with adding all the little kind of ear candy sort of space here to put into the into the track. So as I start the track off, I really knew that that was gonna be my pitch. Basically, I like little RP sounds. I like little frilly sounds. So I was just gonna lead with that stuff. And then reason why is because when a track has a real light, airy start, it's very smooth, bringing in like the lower elements. In my opinion, it's why I like to do it. But it's just these are all like personal kind of thoughts, but maybe they'll help you. I don't know. And then we have a few other things going on here. Most importantly, is the pad kind of comes in, and then the melody sort of comes in here. But what I'll do is we'll just keep going down my sound design process, because it'll be easier for me to just talk about this in conjunction rather than breaking you apart. So yeah, this is the ARP. Let me see what the piano was. Lounge Lizard piano. I'm pretty sure this is the free one. This is a free one that I found for stock, not stock, but a free third party thing, and I just kind of used it and created it. Of course, we got a lot going on in the mixer though. We got some EQ, a couple of EQs. These are two different filters. So this one is a low pass because you can tell with the L low turned up, and then this one right here is a high pass. See, it has the high turned all the way up. And then we have another EQ filter on the bottom. So what this does is basically I like to add a little bit of extra EQ beneath my filters just as padding. And also because pads, because when you start filtering, um, resonance starts to happen because yeah, they just kind of it just happens. I don't so when the resonance happens, it can kind of sort of create these like notches of frequency spikes. So you got to kind of deal with them when they're resonate when you're filtering them in and out. So that's what you'll see me do with a lot of my mixing decisions in the EQ is I will always probably in the mixer I will always put a little EQ after the filters. That way I can have a little bit more control over just the making sure there's not too much going on here. And then stereo shaping is always something I like to do for a lot of instruments that occupy more of the upper registers here. This is kind of my zone of stereo shaping here. So if it's like it occupies this, I'm going to stereo shape it a little bit if it needs it. And then the side chain, as you can see, is turned off. There is no side chain at all for this in any event. I didn't even automate this knob or nothing. So there you go. And then we have it running to the reverb, and then we have it running to some delay as well. And then of course it's going to the bus. Just got back home, went to the beach for a bit. Perfect timing for me to join his team. Hey man, welcome. What's up? We're just going over my track Crystal Air, how I created it. I'm breaking it down, my thought process behind it. I figured I would be a little bit more educational today for this stream rather than just hardcore producing. So thanks man for hanging out. Yeah man, how was the beach? Hope it was good. That sounds like a great idea. Sheesh. I'm not close to a beach though, but hey, if I was. Well, I'm not like too far either. All right. So yeah, that's my piano, and then we're gonna go ahead and look at my ARP again. This one was sound design in 3x OSC. Just a little saw and sine wave, a little bit of detune applied to it. They both at the 24 pitch. The big deal here is you just want to make sure you come over here to your envelope and set instrument settings, and then make sure you mess with these knobs. It's like the best way I can really explain it, but it's not the best way, but it's like the fastest way I guess I could explain it. But really, you want to mold your ADSR, which is attack, decay, sustain, release. You want to mold these to make it represent the sound you want it to be. So I made this to be like a little blip, and like you can see because it's a sharp cut right here, and that kind of signifies, if I had a long, uh, uh, a long decay like that, that would be more indicative of like maybe it's like a chord sound or a pad sound. But basically, yeah, I have it real short and you can listen. And then I have a little bit of extraness going on here with this one. And this is where this is a little cute function in the miscellaneous functions. And this is native to FL Studio. So you could be able to pull this off in your own DAW if you use a different one. But you just have to go about it with probably a third-party delay, or maybe you can actually do it with their stock delay as well. I don't know. But anyways, you go to delay mode and you turn it up, turn it on, turn everything on, and you want to turn that delay pitch up to 1200 cents. And what that does is, well, you kind of guessed it by now. It makes each delay go up an octave, each little note of the delay. And I think this is a really cool thing. I know there's other things out there that do this, but you could do this like so fast and on the snap, you know, and you could really create just super interesting little particle effects. You know, maybe that's what I should start calling them, as particle effects, sound particle effects. But you can really create cool sound particle effects by messing with the feed or the pitch of your delay. And this has been around in FL for a while, and it's super. You know, there's things like this inside of FL that are just they're mind-blowingly amazing, and this is one of them, for in my opinion. Same with the arpeggiator; it's really good. Just the coolest part. This is just really cool. So, anyways, yeah, you know, so I made this entirely inside of 3XOSC. We turn the phase randomness up. We link it to a mixer track. We turn it down a little bit because, you know, it's loud. And then, yeah, there's a lot of EQ going on. And then on top of that, now I have an external third party delay into my mixer, which is making the delay even further. Okay. So now I'm not just delaying it on, I'm not just delaying it inside of the 3XOSC. I'm delaying it even inside of the mixer itself. And that's something to keep in mind. So if we like turned off the mixer, or we could just turn off the delay really. I'll turn off the filter too. So I mean, it's already good, but now we're like, well, say I wanted to just give it a little bit more of an extra flair or a little bit extra. That's where the delay's coming in. And this gives that a little bit of an extra spice, you know. Hey, Burger Mode from Twitch. Hey Z, for happy weekend to you. Hey man, more fabulous and happy weekend to you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Much appreciation to you. How'd your stream go the other night? I tuned in, man. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep, or I don't know what happened, but I was tuned in. It was sounding good. I just ended up. I do try to support though, man. It was looking good, and I was enjoying it actually. So you guys be sure to check out Booger Mode on Twitch, twitch.tv/Booger Mode. Right there, you see him. He does FL streams as well, and it has fantastic sound, really does. So be sure you guys check him out when you get a chance, and show some love to the community of musicians that are on Twitch. All right, so the next little piece here we're gonna go over is this one, this little tiny little piece right here, and I really like these kind of little effects. I just call them frills. I don't really know what they're called, but you know, it's the same kind of. I used the same method of creating the first art for creating this one. So you can look at probably um, um, actually, never mind. I changed my mind here. I didn't use the same effect. What I did was I kind of recreated the effect inside of the piano roll itself more than creating the effect externally using delay. And I'll explain what this means. So really, like you see how this is usually this is like a short, like 1 bar note here. Not even 1 bar, I guess like a fourth of a bar. But I have the entirety of this little piece going before it even finishes 1 bar. And then how I accomplished that was we can just do the paint here. I don't think it makes noise. So basically, I do it like this. I do it like this, where I basically I could control shift or yeah control click all these and have them highlighted, and then you see these little arrow that comes in, and I squeeze it in so it fits into one little section almost perfectly. See something like that, and then you see that's how I kind of get it. Now this one, I think I actually had this like stretched out over the course of like 2 bars, and then I squished it in, but the theming of it is all the same. And then rather than adding like the inbuilt sampler delay, what I did was just crank the delay up in here, threw it through some filter EQ, and of course it's being sidechained. So it gives it that sound, It's hard to explain, but you get it. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm making a cover for a follower so he can perform online. Never tried to remake before, so I'm learning a ton. Ooh. Yeah, that's actually how I learned a lot about creating this genre. I just used to remake one of my favorite songs over and over and over until I kind of figured out what I was doing. It really did. That's literally how I was like learning how to make a lot of this stuff before I started getting weird with it. I need to know like the standard way of doing it, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is how. Okay, now I'm gonna do what I want. As with everybody does that. I know for sure. I'm convinced. Okay, the third ARP here. I don't even know if this is really an ARP. Yeah, it is. Okay. All right, so basically, yep, this is the same thing here, but what I done here was instead of using a 3x OSC, I used a Spire at VST. We chose +1 because that's what we were feeling at the time, but you could choose any one you want. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you like. That's really how it works. So I like this one. I edited these knobs a little bit here. We might have increased the decay a little bit and turned the release up. That's one of the most two common things I do when it comes to messing with presets. I love and of course, I mess with the filters until they sound right. But I love to make sure that the delay and decay and releases are on point with what I'm trying to hear, whatever that is. And that's really it. And then we have it, of course. The big deal about it's not really so much the VST as far as what I did here in the mixer because we did a lot of like delay work, EQ, we shaped it, and these are actually 3 different filters. So we got a low pass, a high pass, and a phaser. This is a phaser. So we crank a phaser up when this phaser comes in during the bridge. So it just kind of zoop, and I have this automated so that it turns on at a certain point and it turns off because I don't want it phasing the entire track. So that's how you can work with your effects where you might want to phase them or do something special for a little bit. Well, just automate the plugin in, turn it on, turn it off. You can even unmute, mute like this, and it'll work as well. And that's really how the ARPs all go in. The real way to understand and I guess appreciate them is you just have to hear them all in context together with the track. But we're just gonna keep going down to pieces here. The pad is real simple. Yep, it's just the E piano pad that I have found from Expand. Literally 2 notes. It's because it's filtered. It's filtered and it's running. I'm running it through a external volume. And what the external volume is doing is just making it so I can kind of fade it in a little bit better. You can do that even through, people do it usually not through automation, but they usually do it through the channel events. So you do it like this, and it'll like channel event it in, and that's fine. But I just don't like messing with the event editor. If I can afford to never mess with it, I never would, you know. So that's why I don't even mess with the event editor unless I have to. But basically, only thing I have the pads designed to do is just kind of bring in the end portions of each of my phrases. So you can see like the pads they're not just going throughout the entire song. Instead, they kind of highlight the sections. All right, and then if that doesn't make sense, just think of how you when you make drums, you always have a little like something that happens at the end of your 16 or something. This is kind of the same kind of way of looking at it when you make your instrument, your arrangement. Well, at the end of your 16 of your arrangement, you can have a little bit of something fill up the space a little bit more so you can let it go. That way they can appreciate or feel the change a little bit without being interrupted. Because as you can see, it's just a pad. It's not like drums are stopping, or maybe they are, but not like a lot of different other things too. It's really just the pad is kind of leading in that little change right there. And this is a way to kind of help blend these little sections of your track together by using these little you use like pad changes. A big deal what I use is well, filters. I use a lot of filter changes. So you see how low pass is low passing out this section into low passing and into the next. And it's a lot of that going on in my music, but it's all intentional. And because this is how the progressive house works. You want to progress the sound, and then you also want to like degress it. But it probably doesn't sound cool to say degressive, but you really do. You can't just have it progress in and stay there the whole time unless you've got a plan for it. So we're progressing things inside of this melody, and this is what makes it so melodic in the melodic progressive house world, because we're not just trying to bring elements in and throw them all at you. It's a lot of things coming in and going away, coming in and going away. It's like the waves hitting the shore kind of feel. It's a really push, lap, pull back. And we do that a lot. This is kind of the production style that we aimed for here, is like a push with the waves, and then we pull back. But it's not like we just let gravity pull it back. We don't need to yoink it back. So keep that in mind. You're not trying to force the issue on the listener. Rather, you let the song cascade the listener. And this is kind of the aim with these arps and pads and melodies and stuff, is we want to cascade it into the track and wash it over our listener, and then let it wash away. And it kind of goes in like that. It's kind of like a almost meditative. That's why this is good for background music. That's why this is good for like meditative tasks, because of that, because it has that where it brings you to a point, and then it pulls you back down a little bit. So that's how the pads were made. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the melody here, which the melody is actually not even expressed that much here, the true melody, I should say. But we can look at it here. And, you won't hear this until you're about 3 or 4 minutes into the track. 3 minutes into the track is when it comes in. So that's something to keep in mind too. That's why like it's really difficult sometimes to make short melodic progressive house tracks, because you really can spend a lot of time just progressing elements around before you even get to what's called like the main event, so to speak. But I'm learning. It's a learning process, and it is a game of length. You can't go too far, but you do want to have enough time to say what you want to say. But I think you can make it as fast or as short as you want. The length really doesn't matter. I just don't really like do radio mixes. I guess they're all right, but I'm just not a fan of them. But I think the length of it doesn't matter, because the melody doesn't come until 3 minutes into the track, and then you only hear it for a little bit, and then that's it. So it's not even it's not even played a lot, and that's something to think about. And here's another thing. This is more like an ARP. This melody two. I just call it melody two, but it's more like a fourth ARP. But we'll listen to that here. And with this one, let me pull this. It's like, well, I guess it is more. It is more like the melody, I guess. It's like the melody ARP, I guess. But it really just it kind of really cements what I was trying to do. With whatever with the ARPs, it kind of makes it a little bit more grounded. So when this comes in, this really defines the track. It brings it all together because it has a lot of mid and it kind of reinforces the notes a little bit on the proper places. So what I picked here was just same thing, E piano, randomness with the stuff, but like I said, sustain, release, decay. Those are my go-tos when I go to these. I may change things like these parameters are made to be messed with. Let's just say that, okay? So if you have these things, um, if you have Spire, just start messing with stuff. Like it's more likely it'll be interesting than not. So, um, just keep that in mind there. Just because you might pull up an E piano next to it and you go, hey, his doesn't sound nothing like his E piano doesn't sound like my E piano pad, just because, I've really twisted stuff around. And yeah, you should do that too. All right, silly question. Did you make color all of your templates? The colors organizations are amazing. Boogamode, I've got a special surprise for you, my friend. I do. I have them on my website for you to download and use if you would like. I'm going to put the link in here. Um, I might just even know it. Okay, that might be the link. I just typed it from memory. But anyway, if that is the link, it is on my, if not, zafer.com. Let's go to tutorials. I'm going to change that to resources. Go to tutorials, and it's under tutorials. It's free. And yeah, if they're useful, I have 4 different colors. This is just one of the colors. But this is how I do all my tracks and start all my tracks from a lot of progressive house. But I feel like they could be useful for anybody out there that may want to use a template for their tracks. So yeah, you can download that if you want, man. And it's just a pay what you want, but you don't have to. You really don't. Just download them if they're useful. And I just hope they help. That's really the big deal, more than anything else. Okay, so yeah, let's go to the mixer here for the melody. And, it's real simple here, not much going on. It's just some EQ and then a filter and a side chain. And of course, we got a little bit of verb. There's the EQ. There's some more post EQ because, these are problematic areas anyways for musicians that are producing. You do have to, from your like low mid to high mid basically is just, it's work for mixers. Let's just say that. I don't know. I don't care who you are. You've got to dial that stuff in pretty tight. And then that's really it though. As far as like the melodies go, there's a little third melody here. There's a third melody right here. And this was all simply just a counter melody, basically something interesting and unique and special to add into the bridge. That's my only reasoning for putting that in. And yeah, I did it on purpose, just to add a little bit of a different, view of the bridge, different sound that kind of occupy the bridge area. All right, bass. Could probably use a little bit more work, but I was okay with this at the end of the day. Basically, it got the message down, but I probably could have brought this down a little bit more. We could EQ out this a little bit more. But it's always like that. Hindsight is 2020. That's why I try to act like, everything's intentional no matter what. Anyways, so yeah, my whole idea though was just something bouncy and groovy with the bass. The bass, of course, is the definitive, movement of the track, but it just defines really how you feel and how you want the. To be with it. And that's why I choose these kind of bass lines a lot. All right. So, the beginning of the bass line is, it's just like normal do do do. But you see the little second half of the phrase? We're following that same kind of mentality here where I added a little bit more to it. But then it goes back down to the normal. So I add a little bit of an upward little swoop to it. You see, I have a little upward swoop to it right there on the second half, on the little gray portion. And this is kind of, and then like here, the last three notes kind of bring it back up. So, the bass isn't just doom, 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 doom. Like basically it's giving you a little bit of play. And I do think that it's important that you let your bass play around at some point in the music. Like the bass a lot. You notice though the movements aren't as crazy. But even then, though, like that's also a rule that's made to be broken as well. Like some people do some amazing stuff. The thing I say about basses is try to keep yourself in the key, like whatever it is, and then like use the probably the octaves above and probably like the fifth or whatever the middle is. But those are just tips. Like anything works. Whatever like sounds cool, man. Like when I be making basses, I always imagine this bass playing dude in my brain is over here jamming out, and he's playing it like that, so I've got to like put it out like he says it, kind of thing. So this is just my personal kind of take on the bass, but everybody has a very good take on it. Everybody has a wonderful take on their basses and stuff. So feel free to be expressive with each part of your track. Just learn. You can see how learning your simple part of your stuff is going to keep you in the creative box. So this is why I'm like always like, yeah, stay in your box of creativity, so to speak, because like the possibilities are so limitless that if you don't put yourself into something, you're just going to be going down 19 different rabbit holes before you'll figure something out, which is honestly, that's not bad either. Don't get me wrong, but it's also like you need to finish the track as well, because progress matters. So finish that tune, push it through to completion, export it. You need to hear that sound, that doo-doo, whatever it is. Export it and get it done, because that's what gets you to be a better musician. That's what makes you make your next song better. You'll never be better worrying about it now, worrying about what all the stuff here. And that's why I think feedback is scary too. I don't know if you should do feedback on unfinished works. I guess I should say that. You shouldn't ask for feedback on unfinished works. Feedback on stuff that you're done with is wise, but not stuff that you're not done with. I think that's not good. Because I think it's because it gives you too many reasons to cut out. That's the reason why I don't suggest it. I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't think it's good if you're not one to finish a lot of tracks about that. Let's look at it from that angle. So, okay, let's look at our mixer. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. I just have a little bit of sidechain and a little bit of filter. This is a high pass filter, by the way. And then basically it just filters out into the bridge. It comes in a little bit on the end and filters out towards the end. So it's nothing too complicated. I just have that there just for a little bit of extra control. And that really is the meat of it. But we can go over the bass line for the bridge section. And then like this is what you do. I just copied it down and essentially I sustained it out. Uh, this is how the patch looks for my first base. This is how the patch looks. Actually, this is a new patch, but usually I copy it out or I make a new patch. In this case, I made a new patch. We bring down the master pitch a little bit here and we play with these sub-frequency harmonics, sub-harmonic knobs, okay? Keep playing around with those until you find the sound you desire. Same with your unison, pan, pitch, phase, variant. All these knobs are made for you to play with, and I would suggest you mess around with them until you find something you like, especially when it comes to making basses. You might be able to make something really interesting. Another thing here is there's an attack coming up a little bit and there's a release a little bit, but I have no filter envelope being applied, and I think I manually control this either via automation or actually I just do a volume automation here, so I don't even control the frequency, filter frequency, and that's okay. That's like, that's perfect. We have a little bit of EQ here dipping out of the bass and the low mids areas, and then I have it being automated. This is a volume automation for resend. It's just real light, easy peasy, so it just makes it easy for me to automate the volume really fast without being too technical or weird or worrying about like accidentally messing with my mixer knob or something. But either way, you can even automate this. This is fine. However you want to do it. There's so many ways to skin a cat here. You don't have to be specific. All right, and then let me go ahead and go to the drums. Kick is just, there's some EQ applied to the kick here where I trimmed out a little bit of the treble, high mids, highs areas. And then this right here is a another EQ section I added on top. I have a couple of filters. These are actually a couple of filters, I think. Oh no, I think one of them is just a high, just a trimming off the low end of the kick, and the other one is actual filter. Yeah, yeah. I have it monoed here, merged, and then that's really about it. It's just kind of the meat of the track, but basically, let me find it. Let me find it. Really, the big work with my kicks is always in the sampler. I do a lot of my work with my kick processing and stuff inside of the sampler, and it's I don't know how to really explain it that well, but there's just a lot of things you're looking for. You're kind of trimming the tail of your kick more than anything. Be careful with super long kicks if you're going to be having, I don't know, really long, like they shouldn't match each other. It should be counteractive. So for me, I kind of prefer short kicks with not too much of either. So it takes a lot of tweaking, like the out knob. There's like effects I mess with. Um, Even the filter frequencies, you can mess with these knobs a little. Everything in here kind of can mess around and help you kind of do it. So this isn't the way it sounded when it came out of the stock, but we did a lot of little processing stuff inside of the sampler, and that's what made the kick sound like this. Like that. And then I have this is just a little high pass filter, and I see it comes in a little bit at different little parts during the track. So it's just so when I'm fading it out or putting little elements in, the kick comes in like that. Here is the hats. Same thing here. I do a lot of my work on my hats and drums inside of the graph editor and inside of the step sequencer and the sampler. So most of these are panned and these knobs are messed with. I even started messing with these now to stereo delay and reverb them out. But they're panned, and a lot of these, you go to the graph editor and you can see the velocity on each of these are messed. So they're not all the same, like this one. Same with, oh, this one is the same. This one isn't. But you can see that the velocities are a little bit different here, where this is what gives you a little bit more of that humanistic quality. And then we have a little bit of a swing going on. So it's the main swings at 19, 20%. 15 to 20 is what I like to stick with. But either way it goes, you do what you want. Just know that, we got to add a little bit of variation, a little bit of human error, so to speak, inside of it, intentional human error. So that way you add a little bit of that organic rhythms inside of your hats, okay? Here's a percussive sound. So you can see that a lot of this is just all like volume control. Each note is velocity controlled a certain way. And I can't express, or I can't say how important that is to you making your stuff sound unique to whatever it is you're trying to do. Um, because I will never be able to make it sound the way you do, and I will never make those volume choices that you make for yours. So keep that in mind, that the velocities of each little note of your drums, hits, and percussive elements do matter, and you should pay attention to them. The velocity and the spacing, left or right spacing, okay? And then you could do post processing afterward, like some EQing or stereo shaping or anything like that. But really, just put them in there where they sound decent for you and are not overbearing and over loud. It's better to be a little bit low, I believe, than too loud with percussions, because they can get a little bit grating fast. So you just gotta be careful. And then there's a loop. And then this loop right here is just, it's just a little standard loop I pull in, but you can see right here, I chopped out, so it's just the beginning being repeated across, okay? In this way, I can give a little bit more control to the loop itself, and it's chopped up so it doesn't, like, I don't have to work with it all that way. So, you can do things like make little cuts and chops and stuff on your drum loops, make it sound a little bit better. It makes it sound a little bit more unique and organic to what you're trying to do, because every little effort, bit of detail does matter. White noise, this is kind of like, you know, but basically, white noise is just what you think it is. It's made pretty much the same way for all the tracks. I control the modulation through a love filter, and I use it through 3x OSC to generate my white noise. So, if you want to use another filter or generator to make a white noise, it's completely fine. They're all the same, I believe, but this is just doesn't take like 0.01% of your CPU to use these 3x OSCs, so that's why I use them a lot. But it really doesn't matter. The big deal is make sure you have a filter of some sort being applied to your white noise. Make sure you EQ it. EQ again if you need to. And then, of course, control the volume somehow. So this is just a volume send I use, but either way it goes. If you want to use the mixer volume knob to control it or do it internally inside of that, that's fine. As long as you control it, as long as you pay attention, as long as you are aware of it. The awareness is key. And then, of course, for sound effects, it's really just kind of whatever you place in, but we decided to go with some cool little ocean beach summer waves. Yeah, that sounds nice. So we just threw that in there. We thought it sounded good, but we didn't. The big thing to understand is we just don't want to overpower what we're trying to do with these sound effects, or like these little like nature effects and stuff. They should be used sparingly, not too much. Very few instances, once or twice. This is probably a little too much, but I was having fun, and that's okay. You can break that rule as well. People do, but the idea is it kind of is supposed to really kind of like um, wash over you on certain parts of the track, and that feeling will get kind of numbed out if it's just playing throughout over and over. All right. So that's really it. And yeah, that's really it here. Basically though, the most important thing I want to point out to people is I didn't use any kind of chords, like no plucks or nothing for this track. I could have thrown some in there, but I decided not to because it sounded good without them. And I really like how it turned out. I thought it turned out great and I enjoyed it. So I hope this was useful and informative to you. This project file will be on my website, zafer.com. If you are a subscriber to me on Twitch, this will be free for you. But if not, it'll be priced at $10. And it just helps support me in my career as a musician and now a streamer. It just helps support these aspects of my career. So if you still want me to keep delivering you content, help bringing you more music and all of the above, please just send me a like, comment, subscription. Come follow me at twitch.tv/Zafer. Make sure you are subscribed. Hit that notification bell for me, please. That way, you'll know whenever I go live again or I post a new video. But at the very least, come join me in my Discord, zafer.com/Discord. Come be a part of the journey. And if you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to put them in there for me in the Discord or just drop them in chat whenever I am streaming. I will do my best to answer them at my earliest convenience. And yeah, thank you all so much. Sending you all much love and happiness. Thank you again. I will catch you all on the next one. Bye, everybody. Alrighty, that is it for that video. And yeah, so if we have any questions or anything else, or anything anybody else wants to add or anything like that, I will stay around for a little bit. And I'm gonna run a few ads here and hang out. Otherwise, we will cut the stream. We'll come back a little bit later on to do some chill gaming. We'll play our music, we will play some games, and we will probably try to give out some music to anybody that comes and hangs out in the chat. So if you're bored or you don't have anything to do, come hang out and be a part of the breeze, Zafer. Or go check out some of these other streamers here, some of these other musicians on Twitch or YouTube that are streaming their production process right now. Be sure you check them out if you want to see some more beautiful and wonderful music production. As for me, I am done with music production for today, guys. We are chilling out. We will be back again tomorrow, though, at 9 a.m. PST for some more music production. Either we can do some. I want to do some feedback. So let me probably set that up. I guess I'll probably have to set that up. I'll try to set up some feedback here, and we can go over some people's tracks that have that want feedback for it. Even though I was like, hey, feedback, but I understand at the same time. Like, you might need some help, or you might just need some fresh airs to hear your stuff. I'll try to do that for you. So when we could do this live, you can come and hang out with me in the Discord voice, and we can go over your track. We can talk about it. We can see what's going on with it, and see if we can make it a little bit better. If you think I have input that can help you with your track. If you just want to show it off, if you think you're a better producer than me, or you are, that's fine. Just don't ask for my feedback. I don't really care, but if you are better, you just want to share your track, that's cool too. Just let me know. I just want to share it. I don't want feedback. And I won't give you any. Because I really don't mind. I don't mind if you're better or worse. It doesn't bother me at all. But I'm not gonna waste it on somebody who doesn't really care. So if you just want to show it off, that's fine. But if somebody would want feedback on their tune, or they want me to listen to it and maybe give them some pointers, you're more than welcome to do that.
So tomorrow at 9 a.m. PST, Los Angeles time, come hang out with me. Uh, and whatever, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, don't matter. Um, Either way it goes. Tomorrow, boy, feedback will be great. See you tomorrow. Okay, good. So reach out to me in Discord. If you're not in my Discord, tomorrow, boy, come join me in Discord here. I'll have you link your track in here, and we'll talk about it. We'll give feedback and stuff on it tomorrow live on stream. And if you want, and yeah, we just go from there. We'll kind of wing it as we go based upon the participation. If nobody's really participating or anything, we can just maybe make it a little bit more exclusive, where we just kind of break it apart even deeper. But you know, oh yeah, thank you so much. Yes, appreciate you, man. Yeah, the bot here has the exclamation Discord in the chat, so that shows you the link right there. Um, um, yeah, you can come and hang out and ask me stuff. Send me your tracks for feedback. It's not just me, but there's other talented artists in there too. Like DS himself is a talented artist. He makes genres that are a little bit different. He likes to do like big room stuff. Last I checked, probably some other stuff, but he's really good, amazing. Hope he drops more music. So yeah, guys. Thank you again, guys and girls, for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. And wow, we made 3 videos today, by the way. So like we're gonna post these on YouTube down the line, but this is great stuff. Like it doesn't matter if we have a million people here, one person here, or 10 people here. We're creating the content that we want to create for our genre, a lot of progressive house. We're creating the music, and we're getting stuff done. And at the end of the day, there's some beautiful music being made from somebody. Well, I don't want to take credit for that, but I'm just happy to be in the seat to produce. So much love to you guys. If that is all you want to see from me for music, I'm going to let you go. And I will be back here probably 15, 20, 30 minutes or so. Give me a little bit of time. I'm going to come back here and probably hang out. Maybe play some League. Maybe play some Valheim. Maybe I'll play some Terraria. I don't know. Maybe we can play some Among Us if I can find some people to get together. It's Friday, so maybe I can get some free bodies together. I'll see what I can do when I'm offline. Otherwise, guys, have a beautiful rest of your evening. I will catch you all tomorrow for some more music. Or I will see you all again soon for some gaming time. If not, we are going to go back and produce. We'll start back up the music production streams where I am going to start back a new concept Monday morning at 9 a.m. PST. And I'm going to use this weekend here to probably take care of some stuff like I want to hook up, I need to rewrite some things in my Discord server. I've been putting it off for whatever reason, but DS has really been hooking stuff up, and he's been motivated. He's now motivated me to get to work on Discord once again. So yeah, I'm going to be working on my Discord. I'm going to be working on some content. I will probably create some free content. Also, I will be posting these project files to my website. So don't forget about that, guys. Posting a project file to my website and stuff like that. And I'll let you know on Discord, Facebook, all that good stuff. Much love. We'll see you again. I'll play this out here.